guys, this video is going to walk through how we engage with the sketch and then develop our controller from this, along with a bit of the basic overviews of using Fusion. So at this point you should have installed it. You can see that I'm signed in, or you'll be signed in the corner. You'll either see your initials over here, and this is probably going to be your team, whatever you call your team name at the moment. So you can see that I've got folders created through here to organize my pieces, and I've created a project in here. So you can create new folders. If you go and sort of organize your stuff a little bit, once you start getting more, it's a worthwhile process. But you can see I'm sitting on a open product here. So what we're going to go through, and we're going to actually start our design. So if we have a look through, so that side panel that we had there, generally I'll keep closed. It's called the data panel, so I can open it back up through that. It just gives you a bit more space to work with. Before I get into setting this up, I want to adjust some of my preferences. So you can see in the top corner, click on preferences, and the main one that we want to change is this pan, zoom, orbit shortcuts. So I'm going to change it, and it's probably sitting on Fusion by default. Tinkercad is the one that I find is the nicest experience. So we're going to select that, and we're going to go OK. That's the main thing I want to change. And I'll show you what that does as we go through a little bit. But your view probably has this layout grid turned on, which gives you sort of a grid to snap to. Now, you can leave it on or leave it off. It doesn't matter either way, but what we're going to start with is have a look across here. So we've got a number of different toolbars up the top here. The main one we're going to be working on is this solid one. So we're going to be creating a solid body from what we create, and we do that by creating a sketch. There are other things that are available through here that you're going to explore later. Mirror is quite a handy one, but mainly we're going to be focusing on starting from a sketch, which then you need to pick a plane to start with. So we're going to start from the top, which then selects through here. So again, if you want to have the layout grid on, you could if you wanted to. I'm going to leave it off. We can see we've got the origin sitting in here. So when we create a sketch, we always want to be able to constrain what we've done. So if I'm going to start by dropping a line in there, and you can see at the moment he is not, oh, I've got two there, I'm going to delete him. You can see at the moment he is blue, so he can move anywhere. I need to be able to constrain that so he becomes what I need. So at the moment you can see I've locked it in now, it's vertical, so you can see the constraint sitting there. I can always, if I don't want that there, I can select on it and delete it, and then it can move back up. But you can see by it sort of tries to snap to those as we go. So I'm going to bring that over and then lock that in. So now that is attached. Now at the moment, I don't have my little toolbar over the side, which is really, really handy. So what I'm going to do is if we go to the view and you go reset to default layout, it will bring that sketch palette up. So this sketch palette is super, super handy because we can change the line type. So that center one there, I'm going to change to a construction line, or if I wanted to, I could change that to a center line, so just a slightly different pattern. But now that's almost constrained, so it can only go up or down because of that horizontal or vertical constraint that we've got on, and one end being pinned on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do dimension. So the shortcut is D, or I click that, and then I'm going to give that a dimension. So I want that, I'm going to stay with 30 mils on that. It doesn't really matter, but right now that is completely locked in. I can drag those out of the way as I'm going, but that gives us a good starting point. So what I want to do next is I'm going to create a couple of circles. So I can hover over here, open that up. If I just click, it stays blue, but if I do that again and actually put in the dimensions that I want, so I'm going to go 60 this time, and see that's now fixed in. I can constrain it through that way, so you can now see he's there. If I want to then lock that in so he stays parallel with that, you can now see that that's attached, which is really helpful. The other thing I can do is now, if I want to fully constrain that, he needs to be able to be locked to go this way as well. So I'm going to put a dimension on there, and I'm going to make that, let's say 30. So now that's in, ready to go. Now I could go and repeat the dimensions over here. There are a few ways that I could go about it. I could use my mirror. So if I use the mirror, I can select what I want to be able to mirror and choose the line that I want to mirror on. And then that will transfer that across and they are mirrored. If I don't do that, I can even use the constraints for symmetry. So if I then select that one, and this line of symmetry, it will then match what we have there, which is really handy. So that's a good starting point. So notice our sketch is completely constrained. We can see that little lock on there, which is helpful. And all the lines are black. If I add another line that's not constrained, you can see that it is now editable. So that is a helpful thing to be aware of. So you can see that because I drew it straight across, it's already got that constraint on. And you can see the constraints starting to build up and visible on our sketch. If they get too busy, we can always hide those over here, and same deal with the dimensions. I find it really helpful for most of the time to try and keep those on. The more constraints I can use instead of dimensions is helpful. So I've got that ready to go. That's looking good. What I want to be able to do next is I'm going to add a line. So I've got that there. If I attach him, so I should be able to bring him on, and so it attaches to that line. If I hover through, it should give me an option to get it tangent. It didn't do it that time. It's given me a couple of options to attach there, but it hasn't actually given me the tangent. So I'm going to select that, select him and the line, and you can see my constraint is now joined in. I want that one to that one, and he is now happy days. So he can't move anywhere now. So I'm going to now do the same thing, but I'm going to use an arc down the bottom. So it works the same way. So I'm going to choose my arc. I'm just going to pick somewhere on it. It needs to be close, and select that. And you can see by default, it has now given us the tangent line on one of the sides, and I'm going to then add it to the other side. So now I've got a curve that's a nice smooth curve ready to go. Now the last thing I'm going to do is get rid of some of these lines on the inside because I don't need them. And the way I do that is going to use the trim. So I'm going to trim that off and trim that off on both sides. So now I've got my outline ready to go. The next thing I want to be able to do, or I could do if I needed to, is if I've trimmed too much, I can actually extend it. So if I select it, the one that I want, it will then say, well, do you want to go that way? And I can then just click and it will extend the line up to the next point that it can stop at. But I don't need that line. I got rid of him, so that's now looking good. I'm going to grab him out of the way for the moment. So now I've got this here. I'm going to now start developing my dimensions based on what we were provided through our PDF that I gave you. So this is going to be available. So if we have a look at this as it comes up, I'm going to be able to use those dimensions. So if we have a look, we've got a potentiometer, our button, that's bouncing all over the place, and our joystick dimensions over here. So I'm going to be jumping back and forward between this to be able to show building those up. So I'm going to start with my joystick. So if we have a look, the cutout for the actual joystick itself, I'm keeping it 27, and each of these ones around the outside are actually at 2.65, so that the 3mm screws can screw into those. So that's will save us a use of a bolt there, which is a quite handy little thing to do. So I'm going to add those dimensions on now. So I'm going to go in over to my circle. I'm just going to keep it centralized on this side just because I can. You don't have to. But that was 27. So that's my first bit. And I'm going to get those, I'm going to do one of those, and I'm going to use a pattern to do the rest. So you can see it's 20 down, 26.5 across. So I'm going to start with my circle there. So that wants to be 2.65. Awesome. And what I need to be able to do here is I'm going to go and create myself a pattern. So it will give me the option of choosing what I want to do that with. So I'm going to choose the objects I want to pattern. So here's that there. And it then gives me some options. So I'm going to go for my spacing, and I want to be able to only have 2 go across. So we can pull it across, and it was 26.5. So I'm going to put that on there. And then if I start dragging that down, it gives me the option of that one, which I only want 2, and that was out to 20. So I can again drag that in or write that in. So now the dimensions that I need there are good. You can see it's got my pattern showing there. And if I move those around, that's fantastic. The easiest way to be able to get these centered is actually create some guidelines. So I'm going to go to my line types and go to center line, and I'm going to go from there and across. So now I've got 2 lines that I can use to mirror or use symmetry on this. So I'm going to choose my symmetry. I'm going to go that one, and that line, which then pulls that across. And then I'm going to go that one, and that one, which is going to then center it this way as well. So you can now see with those constraints, that's all locked in, we're happy. If I didn't want to have that on the center, you can see it's gone concentric because it's on the same center point as this arc. I could remove that and then use some other dimensions from probably this origin to orientate and lock that in. But now I'm going to go in and add my potentiometer. So if I have a look at the details for him, I can see I've got a 7mm hole and a 3mm hole. I'm going to actually drop it down to 6.65 so I can screw that in, and we'll see how that works. And then 8.25 up to be able to give me that hole for the little slot so it doesn't wiggle around when I twist the potentiometer. So I'm going to drop that in now. So I'm going to grab him. So I'm going to go 6.65. There's that guy. I'm going to do another one straight up, which is 3. And then my dimension, so shortcut for D, I'm going to go between those two, and that was 8.25. So they are now almost locked in. You can see that they aren't, we can move them around a little bit. I want to make sure that they stay vertical. So that's now tied in. And then I could go further, and I'm going to actually go vertical on this one. So he's going to stay on that line, and I might then give him a dimension of, how far up do we want? That's about 14. I'm going to go 10. So now that's locked in and he's nice and fixed. What I'm going to do next is add my buttons. So if we have a look at what that needs, I can see there 7mm, or if I go that 6.65, I'll be able to thread them in and not necessarily need a nut on the top, which might be useful. So I'm going to go ahead and draw one of them. So I know that's 6.65, and let him catch up. And I can see I can still move him around, and I'm going to drop the other one through. And instead of giving him a dimension, I'm just going to make him equal. So then you can see those sizes are the same, and they're going to be good. Now what I'm going to do to fix these guys, just so that I've got a bit of consistency, is I'm going to create a circle, and I'm going to make that a construction line. So from here, and I'm going to actually lock that out. So dimension of that one, I'm going to make him about, let's say 35. How does that look? So that spacing doesn't look too bad. And then I'm going to drag that one so he sits on there as well. So now they're going to be on that arc. And if I wanted to, I could then go and get a dimension between those two so that they And if I go that way, that's probably not as helpful, so I'm going to try that again. And I want it directly between, I want them to be, let's say, 15 mils away from each other. So that now gives me a nice space to be able to work with my components. And you can see that from here, I'm going to finish my sketch, and then I'm going to extrude. So the shortcut for extrude is E, or I press on the button there, which then allows me to choose the faces or the planes that I want to be able to do. So if you've got lots of pieces, we can actually select the pieces that we want. So if I didn't want that hole, I can unselect it. I'm going to choose 3 mils, and we can see if I right click and it gives me that free orbit, or I click down here and it allows me to use my left click or main click for that. But with the Tinkercad setup, right click allows me to do that. If I press the scroll button, it will allow me to pan, which is a really handy thing. Or if I scroll, it zooms me in and out. So using a mouse is worthwhile. And the last little thing I haven't really talked at is this guy up here. So I can actually hit top or reorientate it to that home view, or click on any of those faces to kind of rotate to see how it's looking. If I need to, I can reorientate. If I right click up here, I can actually set my views and reset my views if I need to, if I've set them up the wrong way. But at the moment, 3 mils is the thickness of the MDF we're using. That's perfect, and now we can see I've got my component ready to go. So the quickest way to take this to the laser cutter would be to right click on that sketch. I'm going to rename it so that I've actually got something meaningful. This is going to be my controller, and I'm going to call that, I'm just going to put my initials at the end, so when I go to export that as a DXF, it will, oh, it won't, it just makes it easier for that. So I'm going to call that my controller, JFV1, and you can see it's saved as a DXF, which is perfect, and it saves to my computer. So if I don't check that, it's going to be default just to save it in your Fusion. We want it to save to the computer. We don't need it to save in the cloud. You can see that the default is the downloads folder, or we can choose and adjust where it goes to save. Downloads is a nice place to start, and then we can drag it onto the USB or email it through to the laser cutter when that's set up. So I'm going to hit save now, and that's going to be my downloads folder, ready to be able to send to the laser cutter. Now, you can obviously use this as the basic design if you don't want to design your own, but they're the components, they're the dimensions that we need to use to be able to fit our components on it. Now, the last thing, and I probably should have done this before I really started, is you can see that it's not saved. So if I hit Command or Control S, or go File, Save, so you can see it hasn't given me as a save as, because it hasn't been saved yet. But I'm going to save that, and I'm going to call that my controller. Now this is my demo, and I'm going to save that into my ATV folder, ready to be able to go. So there's my one saved, and you can see it's got version 0. So now if I save it again, it'll update to version 1. And if I do move that or change something, I'm just going to move that to 4 and save it again. You'll see it'll give us a version description. Save that again, you'll see it goes up to version 1. If I go into the panel over here and have a look at that, where is he? Down here, my demo. I can then actually see what each of my save points has been done, any drawings that's connected, so you can actually go in and revert things if you do it. So saving regularly is a really important process, because it will actually tag and show me what we've done through our steps. So good luck for it.